There's an image in Psalm 1 of a person whose delight is in the law of the Lord, being like a tree planted by a living stream. It's a rich and beautiful image and reminds us that if we read the Bible, our roots will go deep and we will be refreshed by the living stream of God's word.
At the beginning of my Christian life, I would say I had favourite bits in the Bible which I turned to repeatedly. So love is patient, love is kind. In true love drives out all fear. These sort of maxims that I found it easy to live with at the beginning of my Christian life. As I moved deeper into my Christian life, I found it helpful to use a Bible reading scheme because I think it's quite easy to pick the bits that appeal and ignore the bits that don't. So I now use the Church of England lectionary to read my Bible and find quite amazingly how it speaks to the circumstances of the day.
And certainly when I've read the Bible, there are books here which actually I find quite discomforting. Like, for example, there are bloodthirsty books in the Old Testament and passages which I find profoundly disturbing. I have to wrestle with them. But there are other parts of the Bible, like, for example, the book of Ecclesiastes. When I first read it, I thought, what on earth is this doing in the Scriptures? Such a miserable writer. Everything's futile, it's empty, vanities of vanities. And yet as I've lived with that book of the Bible, it's really spoken to me, particularly in our culture where everybody's supposed to be relentlessly happy. It gives me permission to be myself before God.
I was facing a crisis, and that really affected my ministry, my personal life, and everything I did. I thought I was lost. And one fine morning, I was reading Isaiah chapter 6. As I read, I just felt that Isaiah had disappeared from the scene. It was just me encountering God in His majesty, in His power, in His glory. And I was never the same again.
Everything is in the Bible. Absolutely everything. Look at Psalm 88. Incredible psalm of total despair. Now, I've read that psalm with people suffering from depression, clinical depression. And they said, oh, they understand me. That's me. And great psalms or stories of the resurrection, people say, yes, that's how I experienced Jesus when I first met him. It's wonderful.
In other words, this library of books, this Holy Bible, is a book full of surprises. And it's worth sticking at it and exploring it. Because when we do that, God is able to expand our horizons and show us all sorts of new things about God, about life, and of what is of infinite worth in His sight.